GT World Challenge Europe, powered by AWS. Sprint Cup has barely had time to catch its breath after the all-action weekend at Misano. Welcome everybody to Magny-Cours, welcome to qualifying. It is nice and warm here, a little bit cloudy, some fog even this morning, and lots of overnight rain. Absolutely hooned it down yesterday evening and washed away any rubber that had been laid down during free practice. There's a track temperature of 26.8 degrees, pretty humid, 35%, and we're looking forward to our first part of qualifying, which will determine the grid for tonight's race that is due to start just after 9 o'clock local time. Bryn Lucas is in the pit lane, David Addison and Joe Osborne are trackside. This 4.4 kilometre long Magny-Cours circuit, Joe, that's been a staple really in recent years of Sprint Cup.
Yeah, it's been a great circuit for racing, hasn't it? Some big overtaking opportunities here, high to low speed, turn 5, for example, cars 250 kilometres an hour all the way down to 50 k's. So that's why we see so much action at that hairpin, but that's really the same for all 17 corners here at Magny-Cours.
Now, as is the tradition, we're going to split qualifying into the two groups. Pro and Gold will go first today, and before we go into qualifying, let's hear from our double winners at Misano. Charles Witz and Kelvin van der Linde won that, and let's join Bryn Lucas.
Huge advantage in the championship at the moment, 14 points, which is the biggest advantage there was, even if you consider last year as well. So you've got to be feeling a bit confident, but conditions yesterday for the second practice were not at all favourable.
Yeah, look, firstly, there's never a time to get your foot off the gas in GT World Challenge. You've always got to be looking to the front, try and focus on every race weekend. It changes so quickly. So I think the points advantage means nothing at this stage. And yeah, a tricky practice sessions for everyone, not a lot of track time. So I think this qualifying is wide open.
Looking by your relaxed demeanour and the fact you're not in your race suit, I know it's not you getting in the car. With the track itself, we know that it's hard to overtake around here. We know as well that out of the last 10 races, 7 of them have come from P1.
Yeah, look, we've got one big trump card, and that is we can overtake in the pit lane. So we showed that in Misano, and hopefully we can do that again, or hopefully it won't even be necessary if Charles can put a good lap together today.
Overtaking in the pit lane, and a whole lot of luck coming your way. Good luck.
Thank you, guys. See you soon.
And that overtaking in the pit lane largely down, as we've seen so often in recent years, to the fabulous pit work that WRT can produce. It's a fairly short pit lane, this, and you can see just how busy it is. 44 cars on the entry, a Sprint Cup record, and of course that again includes bronze that wasn't able to take part at Brands Hatch. But this is going to be a really tough session. Again, 10 minutes, you can't afford track limit penalties, and you can't afford to make a mistake.
No, and that's why we've split the grid. It's exactly half, which is just by luck really, because the first session, the A, is the Pro and the Gold, 22 cars, and then it will be the Silver and the Bronze, again 22 cars. So it's going to give cars space, but what that tends to find is the drivers get greedier and they back off more to try and find more space, so you end up tripping over drivers there. As Augusto Farfus from the Paradigm team, I was talking to the engineer, last minute strategy, so he won't be ready just yet because he's in the B part as the car is in the bronze class.
That's right, the engineer being Jamie Warren, who is just quite happy to talk to a grown-up. A recent dad is Jamie. Well done to Jamie and his other half, but you can have a grown-up conversation, not baby talk for a minute. But Augusto Farfus, the man behind the wheel of 991 BMW today. This is the lap, Joe.
Yeah, so the overtaking at turn 5, the Adelaide hairpin was the one I was talking about, but there's great overtaking at 14 and 15-2. And then you see the technical natures of the Nürburgring chicane 7 and 8, and Imola 12 and 13. Track limits, unfortunately, will be prevalent. There are cameras at 1, 3, 5, 7, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. 17 being double jeopardy. If you run wide down qualifying, you lose the lap you're on, and also the next.
Because it's the last corner, and if you gain an advantage, it helps you on 2 laps, the one you're finishing, the one you're starting. So we get ready. The fast lane is already open for Q1A. 10 minutes for the Pros and Golds. The light's just gone green at the end of the pit lane, so the clock is ticking, and as yet not only no takers but plenty of teams. And here you can see Lion Speed GP don't even have the wheels on the car, so waiting to see who blinks first.
Yeah, and the biggest factor in that, reason why, is there's very little rubber laid down. With all the rain we've had, there isn't the grip out there, so the teams want to go as late as they can to let the other 21 cars in their part of the session put the rubber down. And that leads me nicely into a point from last year's qualifying, that both pole positions on the combined came from the second half, so the B group. So even though we've got the Pros and the Golds in this session, last year it was a bronze bronze car of Dennis Marshall, who got pole overall. So don't discount that second part of this qualifying session here this afternoon.
Yeah, and Augusto Farfus as driver one will go in the bronze session. We know he's quick. Dennis Marshall, for example, will be today's driver in bronze to illustrate the point. There's 007, which for today's purposes will be Kobe Powell's at the wheel. Although, as far as I know, nobody has yet gone out. The session is underway, and we've had a minute of it.
Yeah, and luckily it's a short pit lane, like you said, David, 249.5 metres, 18 seconds in pit lane. So you get out there quite quickly. But last year, track limits, Rivera was a good example in the AF course Ferrari. He lost every single lap. He didn't post a lap. So your engineer's going, how many laps do you need? Oh, just 2. The peak of the tyre's lap 1, then lap 2 in case I need it. We're now losing laps. So if drivers are going to do a track limit of 17, that's 2 laps gone. So with an out lap, you've lost half your session without posting a single lap because of one misdemeanor. And we get our first blink, which is a McLaren from the CSA team.
And it's James Kell who will go out first. This is one of the Gold Cup cars. In terms of pole positions, the CSA team's car, this 111 McLaren Alfa Rougier's time stood for a pole position. Alex Arca has had a pole, and his co-driver Dylan Pereira has had the other 2. So in other words, it is the Attempto Audi 3, CSA Racing McLaren 1 in terms of pole position. In Pro, every session a different driver. Don't forget these are only races 5 and 6 of Sprint Cup, so you've had a pole position for Ricardo Feller, for Bastien Bus, although they share the Porsche. They took a pole each at Brands, Valentino Rossi and Jules Gounon at Misano. And it's worth making the point also that as Chris Lallam is recovering from the operation to get rid of his appendix, Jules Gounon stands in for him once again. Chris, get well soon. Right, circuit's getting a little bit busier, but it's timing this absolutely right, not only in terms of when you release the car against the clock, but where you release the car against the traffic.
Yeah, and that's going to be what I fear for that McLaren. James Coe is going to have so many cars on outlaps that just don't want to give him the track position and will ultimately hold him up. Where's Kobe Powell's going to be? The Aston has been quick, but really under the Valkenhurst banner, not that Come2You car, has not been as competitive. I really like the look of the Winward Mercedes, and I really like the look of Marvin Dienst, who's going to be out in the B part of this session. So that's my early prediction for a pole.
And you also got Fabian Schiller to factor in as a bronze driver, but he's going to be, again, in that second group with Marvin Dienst as the rival. James Kell starts a flying lap now, pulls the pin, coming out of the chicane, effectively, turns 16 and 17, and then goes down towards the Grand Courbe, through which he will turn, and then Estoril at turn 3, hard on the power. And already he's got the dreaded traffic, which was pretty much inevitable.
Yeah, and the teams will be warning, so if good.
Way wide through the gravel.
Yeah, he's just distracted by the car in front potentially. But yeah, the lap's done, obviously time-wise, but that is our track limit hotspot as well. So he definitely went past that one and more. And now he needs to refocus, as it's the sister car, the Gachet 555 McLaren. It's going to be our first benchmark.
I think it's safe to say there was no advantage gained, though. He certainly delayed himself by going through the gravel. Simon Gachet then looks rapid in 555 there. Lucas Auer joins in. It might be a short pit lane, but it's a long exit, isn't it, before you can get past that white line. You can't cross that, so you have to wait and wait and wait, and you're virtually at turn 3 at Estoril before you can really join the racetrack. Gachet gets through Estoril fine, then there's the kink at 4, then there's another kink at Golf, and then you're hard on the brakes up to the Adelaide hairpin, and Lucas Auer has already slotted in here onto the tail of the Simon Gachet McLaren.
Yeah, he's just trying to find his feet. It's a good sector 1 from Gachet. Last year, the fastest sector 1 was a 28.8 for reference. It's now been taken away from him by Kobe Powell. That's why he's lost the purple on the timing screen. But Gachet's going to be the first guy to lay down the gauntlet. Last year, the fastest sector 2 was a 36.2, so we'll keep an eye on that. He went very deep, didn't he, into turn 8. You do make a V shape out of it, but I think he was slightly off the rubber. He's going to cross the sector 2 line any second now, and that will give us an insight there. So it's a slightly average one, so this is probably going to be a 1 minute 37. I think Pole could even get into the 35s by the end of both sessions.
Okay, more rubber going down, and of course as you get through towards the end of your allotted 10 minutes, fractionally lighter on fuel. Lucas Auer in the background has backed right out of it, hasn't he? He doesn't want to get caught up in traffic. So down towards the end of the lap, down towards the Complexe du Lycée comes then Simon Gachet. This will be top because James Kell's 1:48.237 was with the trip through the gravel, and Simon Gachet does a 1:37.792. This is Kobe Palvel's then making his way now down towards the chicane, and he's backed out of it.
Yeah, he's obviously had traffic. It was an okay sector 2, but look at that, everyone backing up to try and find some space. We go on board now with the 50 AF Course Ferrari of Neubauer. This is coming through the second of those chicanes at Imola, using all the curve perfectly, and now a good hard break into turn 13, and it was a great sector 2, so this could be our first real representative lap time. It's got to be in a 36 for sure to be pole. At the moment, the fastest is still Gachet on that 37.7.
That hard break at turn 13, Chateau d'Eau, and then now down with the speed building towards the Complexe du Lycée, where you go right and then right again and flick left. Got to be careful with track limits and curve usage here, but up over the timing line goes Neubauer to go fastest. Remember that Thomas Neubauer was a winner at Brands Hatch with Arthur Leclerc. And this is Tommaso Mosca in the Gold Cup sister car at AF Corsa, and Zagazetto and Mosca were also winners back at the start of the year at Brands Hatch. So Brands was good to Ferrari. Is it going to be good here? He bounces out of the chicane. So fastest is Neubauer. Mosca goes second then as he breaks the beam.
Yeah, it was a great first sector from Mosca, but it went away from him slightly. Only 3 minutes remaining as we see the Lion Speed Porsche of Boost come through this awkward chicane. The Porsche can use so much curb, and that effectively shortcuts it for him. Fourth place for the Porsche.
Yeah, not quite as good as he would have wanted, and we've got under 3 minutes to go. What does Lucas Auer do? Inevitably, they are personal bests because it's his only flying lap, but he needs purples, really, to put it in context, doesn't he? The time that he's aiming for now is something better than a 1:36.557, and it's a 36.6, so he goes second fastest. Lucas Auer second in the times. Thierry Vermeulen is looking rapid. Charles Wirtz, then the championship leader, goes through 13th, number 32 BMW.
Yeah, I hope for him it's a build lap, so the tyres come out the oven hot, but sometimes the teams give the drivers the first lap to finish them off. This could be a lap from Gounon at the moment. Is this going to get into a low 36? Huge amount of curb, keeps it legal, and it goes P1. It's close, isn't it? There's only a tenth to second.
Yeah, Jules Gounon on pole position at Misano then. Goes top here by 93 thousandths of a second. This is Luca Engschler, who was a real weapon around here last year, but as he comes up towards the timing line in the new Temerario rather than the Huracan, it's 17th. So again, you get the feeling that hopefully it's a build lap, but also that the Temerario still is not where they need it to be.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. And that car won race 2 last year. Remember, himself and Jordan Pepper put some monster stints in. As we look at the monster of the Mamba here, still improving, Lucas Auer, and he's got good space in front of him, so he should be able to finish this lap A-OK. Sector 2 now is going to pop up, give us some insight, and this could be a lap that gets somewhere near Gounon. And
Gounon is going quicker again because Jules has done another absolute best within Sector 1. You're looking at Dean McDonald's McLaren here. This is the Pro Cup entry coming down towards the chicane. So he turns through the Complexe du Lycée, then drops down the hill. Lucas Auer is doing personal best as well. Dean McDonald should be on for an improvement here as he comes up towards the timing line. We are getting laps taken away for track limits, but Dean McDonald goes 5th. Max Hesser has got top, though. Max Hesser in number 46 BMW is fastest. Lucas Auer comes through, goes second, so it's Hesser, Auer, Gounon, Neubauer. This is Charles Wirtz, who's down in 16th in the times, and he goes up to 7th.
Wow, what a lap from Wirtz, though. It likes quali 1, doesn't it, in the sprint? It was pole position last time out at Misano for the 46. Jules Gounon, after that purple, Sector 1 is still improving. It's 2 purples. Could it be 3 to take back pole position?
Oh. Big launch over the curb, and it is pole position for Jules Gounon as he goes through, and that lap's a 1:36.023. But that's the absolute perfection lap, isn't it? Purple, purple, purple. Nearly 4 tenths to pole. Last year we had 16 cars covered by a second. He's nearly taken that halfway, just a second place car. It was all at that final chicane. He launched the car. That's getting to a point where the car's going to start to get damaged, which is okay in this short qualifying session, but expect a different line there through the race. Now, what about Max Hesser's BMW? We know that it can be quick because of the nature of Valentino Rossi's efforts at Misano. Hesser has backed out of this lap. It's not as quick as it was in the sectors. Interesting as well, isn't it, how much faster this WRT BMW is at the moment compared to 32 of Charles Wirtz. Second for Hesser, placed 10th of Wirtz. Yeah, and the 31, the Cordial car, hasn't got a lap on the board yet because of track limits. We said that could be a problem, and for sure, Hesser looks like he's got the most out of the tyres, and I think he'll box at the end of this lap. So in he comes then. Max Hesser has done what he can, and the clock hits 0 anyway. In fact, there's the checkered flag, look, so perfectly timed to trickle into the pit lane. Over the line there goes the McLaren. This is Charles Witt's last chance. Lucas Auer heading up towards the line then, so looking down to 3rd in the times, but it's good for the 2Cs round of the Verstappen Racing entry of Jules Gounon then, that is the quickest. Lucas Auer goes through, but misses out.
Something massively happened to this 32 BMW at the last chicane. It came into shot on the nose. Both rear wheels were in the air, so he's tried something Jules Gounon-esque at the last corner, and the BMW not taking the curb happy at all.
And let's have a look. It likes the low curbs at Misano, but it does not like the high curbs here. So he hits one, and that launches him towards the second, and that's a bigger launch. Wow, and it does, as you say, land on its nose. And Charles Witt will have felt that through the car, never mind the suspension.
Yeah, that final right at 16, it didn't turn enough, and I can see why, because all 4 wheels were in the air, which then made him launch the curb even harder at the final apex. The team will have a big look at that. The car's, interestingly, going to Parc Fermé now, so they can't be touched normally for up to 90 minutes. And we have the race this evening, remember, just past 9 o'clock local time. WRT will want to check all the components on that car.
Yeah, those that are in the leading order go to Parc Fermé, don't they? There's a very happy 2Cs team, so applause and smiles and all of that for now. But they need to be careful here, because as you've been making the point, there are some very quick people to go in the next part of the session.
Yeah, and another quick Mercedes, that Dienst one I highlighted, is a bit of a standout for me from what they've been doing in free practice. But free practice 2 was a washout. There wasn't really much to read into that, and that's the hard bit for these drivers when you're changing conditions. Normally you get your eye in, you just look for bits. In the wet, they were 20 seconds off the pace, so now they've just got to get on it. 2C's obviously running this car low because a huge amount of pickup trying to be found by Gounon, but because it's been so wet, there's very little pickup to be had.
Yeah, I take your point about Marvin Dean, so I'm going with Fabian Schiller as the other one to watch, and then you put Dennis Marshall into the mix. It's going to be a really interesting session, not only in terms of who is quickest in bronze. We're not being rude to the silvers, but by definition they are silver graded. A bronze cup car only needs 1 bronze driver, so there are some, Augusto Farfus another example, who are much higher grades. There will be the Rover pole position award at the end of the session once we know the full 44 strong order, but Jules Gounon, not bad for a sub. Pole position,
yeah,
provisionally.
Super sub. And just to reiterate, nearly 4 tenths clear of second place. That is the biggest gap I've seen in sprint quali in some time. And that gap is the biggest gap between any of the cars until you get to 20th place. So a real dominant performance. It'll be interesting to see what underwear he's got on this round.
Door open to get a bit of air into the car. And into the pit lane comes the Mercedes then, past the race control building. And a very busy Magny-Cours it is this weekend, with French GT, French Super Tourism, French Carrera Cup, French Formula 4, Midjet, really busy all weekend track activity. And there is a garden party tonight on the inside of the Complexe du Lycée. There are pit walks, track walks as well this evening, and concerts as well. So the order at the end of Group A, and this is the provisional order: Jules Gounon from Max Hesser, Lucas Auer 3rd ahead of Kobe Pauwels, Thomas Neubauer 4th, Thomas Neubauer 5th. 6th, we didn't really touch on this, but gold top time in the end to Gilles Magnus in the very unlucky number 10 Buxton VDS car. Change of livery seems to have helped a bit for that. 7th, Dean McDonald from Tommaso Mosca, then Tom Fleming, but Charles Witt struggling for 10th ahead of Alex Arca. Bastien Bus a long way back, 12th. In fact, not a good session really for Porsches, the best of them being that Gold Cup entry of Buxton VDS. Behind Bus was Alessio Picariello, Mattia Michelotto heading that into Nissan Lamborghini scrap with Luca Enschler, then Thierry Vermeulen, Simon Gachet, James Kell 18th after his gravelly moment. A long way back, Konsta Lapalainen and Simon Reicher in the Audi 20th. 21st would have been Yacht Rapage, and 22nd, Amaury Cordial. Cordial did not get a lap time, so that doesn't mean he's going to start 22nd. It means that potentially he's going to start 44th. If the other half of the entry behave themselves, he will be at the very back with no time whatsoever, illustrating why you can't make mistakes, because they've straight away for race 1 really given themselves a bad hand to play with.
Yeah, I don't think that front bumper on that 30 BMW you can see in shot is going to be in particularly good fashion by the end of that race, when Cordial will start back there, then handing over to the ever-feisty Jordan Pepper.
Yeah, Pepper is going to be a real man to watch as Olivia Boutsen is ready for the second part of this session to see where ultimately her 2 cars are going to be. And there you can see 991 in the background, the Paradigm BMW, number 10 Porsche, done for now, but that car will remain on the pit apron And the clock has started, so the session is live, and again, very, very few takers. It's almost now getting to the point of just a one-lap shootout, isn't it? Not quite there yet, but you know, you think, gosh, 10 minutes, that isn't very much time, and yet still, as we saw at Brands, and we saw at Misano, people are reticent about going out too early.
Yeah, it's just historical data shows it's not the right thing to do, and we've seen it again today with James Kell and the other CSA McLaren of Gachet just unable to get the lap time as the rubber was not laid down. And 22 cars doesn't sound a lot, but when everyone's doing 4 push laps, suddenly putting 100 laps worth of rubber down in under 8 minutes as the cars are waiting that long, the grip level does change rather quick.
Right, we've got cars on the move, and in terms of a lap time, you know, you're just over a minute and a half, aren't you? A minute and 36. There is the Mark Kastelich and about to be Tanat Saturn-Tironcourt Dynamic GT Porsche, as now we've got cars venturing out onto the circuit headed by number 9 Porsche. Now this is Mikkel Pedersen making his debut for the Pure Racing team, the Danish driver who has been in the past at Dynamic, but going to a new Porsche team this weekend. 88 Audi on its way down the pit lane. That's the car from Trezor Attento of Sebastian Ugard today for qualifying. Kari Schreiner for tomorrow's session.
Yeah, we see the Porsche here just able to find some space, but everyone else is on their out lap once more. So Pedersen happy at this moment, but the team will have to communicate to him how busy pit exit is, otherwise that could really compromise him on his push laps. So
the car onto the circuit. Also now out goes Loris Kabiru and Tanat Saturn-Tironcourt. So the 2 Dynamic Porsches on track, shepherding also the next of the Ferraris down the pit lane. So Gilles Stadsbader for AF Corsa. 44 cars is a very, very busy circuit, isn't it, when you think they're lapping in a minute and 36 seconds.
Yeah, and it's bang on 100 metres of real estate each, as we are 4.4 Ks here at Misano. It's a tight circuit as well. You get that with these older F1 tracks. The width of these cars has got so wide. There's bits of it that feel very single file around here at Magny-Cours, and that's why we see so much action in the races.
It's that long, long first corner, the Grand Courbe down towards Estoril. There is Mikkel Pedersen then in the red Porsche. Remember, the car destroyed in that huge accident at the end of Monza. So new livery for better fortune, they hope. It seems to have worked for the Boutsen car, so it might work for Pure Racing as well. And Pedersen, no stranger to Porsches, but new to the team.
Yeah, and he's going to be laying down the gauntlet as it looked like the Aston Martin was just exiting in front. He'll be hoping that the Aston peels over to the right to give him the space to get round. The Aston will be looking at his dash and, yeah, gets the notification to move over. And now Pedersen has got a free rein of where to brake. This is the big brake zone, braking at 150 metres. Look at that concertina up, 3 cars on their outlaps, potentially going to hurt this 9 car.
So Mikkel Pedersen gets through as best he can, but there's more traffic up the road, one of which bails. Does it? Does it? Yeah, that's, again, an example of where it looks narrow. The Aston Martin sort of having to claim a line. It doesn't want to waste time either, because it wants as many push laps as it can possibly find out of this session. So Pedersen then starts to offer now personal best sectors. The first driver really that we're seeing doing anything in this second part of qualifying. Now there, further up the road, the turquoise Winward Mercedes, that's the car that Marvin Dienst will be behind the wheel of for this session, and that is very definitely one to watch.
Yeah, so I don't think this Porsche, and that's the track limit, and that's the lap done. As soon as all 4 wheels escape the white lines, the lap will be deleted. Pedersen should know that, and probably is best to try and back off as Jim Pla is trying to get past Dienst. This is where the jockeying for position starts.
Now that's not yet come up on the timing screen to say that Pedersen's lap has been taken away, so whether he feels he can get away with it, the team will be looking at the message line, and there's been a warning for 54, the Dynamic Porsche, but not number 9. So over the line goes Mikkel Pedersen. For now the lap stands at any rate, but he's down to second because Alessandro Frasinetti goes faster. Gilles Stadsbader has lost a lap, but nothing yet for Pedersen. So for the moment, that lap is okay.
Yeah, I think it's probably just critical mass of race control having to deal with all of this as we look at the 11 Aston fly through 6 and 7, then to 8. This is the corner where you veer off, but it's hard to get the second apex, and we just miss it ever so slightly. You want to get those inside wheels on top of the curb to help rotate the car. There's a quick sector 1 for Gelmini. What's it going to be here as they fly into sector 2? It's another good sector there. This car could probably break into the top 10 overall if the third and final sector is a good one.
Felice Gelmini, former Clio champion. Marvin Deans goes purple. So in terms of this part of the session, Deans looking to go top, but it's really where he's going to be overall that is the big fascination. So you've got Giamini here coming down towards the Complexe de Lycée. It's going to be a decent lap, barring any penalties. I think he's okay. Nothing comes up about him. Still nothing about that lap Joe identified from Pedersen. So Giamini fastest in this group, 1:37.744, and that's 20th overall. So he's already ahead of some of the golds and pros. Now Augusto Farfus for Paradigm goes top in the group and then falls to second straight off.
Yeah, this is going to be the car. Where can Deans get? Balance looks amazing. No understeer at all into that final part of the lap. Launches a curb, going to push the line now. Goes first in session, 5th overall.
With 2 absolute bests, and ahead of him on the road is Fabian Schiller in the red and white Mercedes. They're going through his treble 2 of Kian Jewis, starting a flying lap now. Others to keep an eye on would include Eddie Cheever. And you've also got Anthony Bartone in this, in number 6 Mercedes, a winner at Misano, along with Aurelien Panis. Now, that's Dennis Marshall in 74 Ferrari, and he, as ever, is looking very, very quick indeed. Replay here, though, of the Ferrari through the chicane.
Yeah, this was him finishing the lap to go second in class, all 4 wheels in the air. It's like a bunny hop, like a mountain bike, and the rotation actually helped him.
Yeah.
You can see the amount of opposite lock, so it was almost like it was planned, but I think slightly suboptimal for the lap time and definitely suboptimal for the floor.
And we've got a mechanical warning flag being prepared for the Santalok car of Jim Pla. It's a bronze Santalok entry. First time we've had a bronze Santalok entry for a long, long time. You're looking at Oliver Söderström in number 21 Aston, but something then for 26 Audi, which is forcing that car to come to the pit lane. So they need a time out of it before they do so. Yeah,
pace-wise, it's okay. We saw at the start of its session looked okay, so it'd be interesting to know what has happened there to the Jim Pla Audi.
Now Söderström, 3rd within the session. Number 21 is the car that Söderström shares with Arthur Dorisson, and he comes now up towards the timing line. Stays 3rd then within this group. So at the moment you've got Dienst ahead of Marshall, ahead of Söderström. Now what about Mathis Leesmont, twice a winner in silver this year with Ignacio Montenegro. The quick Belgian driver here, Mathis Leesmont, former motocrosser, threads his way now through the Imola chicane and then up towards Chateau d'Eau.
Yeah, it's looking like a good lap, isn't it, for the silver car here at the moment, the fastest silver car, as we got the Jim Pla flag there on the loom rank. It's in 15th overall, so we need to be in the 36s to try and get that silver pole.
Eddie Cheever going quicker than Augusto Farfus now. Leesmont, though, absolute best and a personal best, looking for pole in silver away from Oliver Söderström, and as he comes across the line, goes 2nd in silver. And now goes quickest as the screen updates. So silver pole provisionally for Mathis Leesmont.
Yeah, 8th overall as well. So that's a mega lap from Leesmont in that WRT BMW. As we look at Caribou here in the Porsche, he did have the fastest sector 1 out of anyone earlier on in the session, but a very average sector 2 on this lap. So potentially going to box as he comes in, or he's setting one more up. One final push. He'll give it everything he's got.
Yeah, he's got less than a lap time left in the session, so Caribou goes through 14th in Q1B. And as he goes across the timing line then, this is Dennis Marshall, who is currently 3rd in the group, 2nd in bronze, and wants to be higher on that overall grid than 13th as he heads then through Imola to Chateau d'Eau. Now, what about Kian Jewis, British GT champion last year? Much underrated driver is Kian, and how about this, an absolute best in the middle sector?
There's a mega sector 2 there. It's only 1/10 off the fastest we've ever seen around here at Magny-Cours. Again, big curbs, fastest in this, and 2nd overall. What a lap.
Brilliant stuff. Kian Jewis then 2nd, so Jules Gounod, Kian Jewis for the front row provisionally, and that is quite something for Kian Jewis to say, remember me, everybody. And an excellent effort now also by Dennis Marshall to get 74 back into contention in bronze. He's gone 5th in the group, 4th in the class. So bronze now, Jewis ahead of Schiller, Dienst and then Marshall. Fabian Schiller 5th overall as well.
Yeah, it's been a good lap from Schiller, hasn't it? But the Merc is strong. Cheever now gets slightly better, doesn't he? A 37.0 for him.
So Gounod, Jewis, Hesse, Auer, Schiller, Powerfuls, Dienst, Neubauer, Magnus, Leesmont, the top 10. This is Farfus, flags out, as you saw in the background. Checker flag to end the session. Looking then from Augusto Farfus' BMW as he comes then under the clouds. Bit of vibration in the car, certainly in the camera, as he accelerates then towards the end of that. Marvin Dienst, absolute best sector 1. And if people are boxing, then Dienst may have a clearer road ahead of him.
Yeah, he needs to try and keep it on the island. That's the hard bit now as the tyre drops off. You're pushing harder and harder. It's a green sector 2 as well for Dienst on the timing. Farfus is going to break the beam first. It's going to be hard for him to improve much. That's sector 2, 9/10 off. So he'll look at the delta here and decide if he wants to finish the lap or not.
And the answer is that he will. So Farfus comes through now, then up towards the timing line, and 16th he is in Q1B. Now, what about Marvin Dienst? He is 4th in the group. And Dienst accelerates up to the line. He's 8th, so rides the curve, 8th overall. And now Marvin Dienst goes through 4th. He will stay 8th provisionally on the grid.
I don't know if there's a bit of bodywork damage on that Mercedes. Looked like the rear left was hanging out slightly. Not surprised with how much curve these cars are using. Here's the 30 BMW. It was leading silver. It's on a good lap at the moment. He's 12th overall at the moment. You can see on the timing tower, didn't ride the curve well. That's a bit like Charles Wirtz. It does improve up to 10th, second in class, but some time lost at that final chicane.
And Jules Gounon can reflect on 2 in a row in terms of pole positions. He was on pole for race 2 at Misano and race 1 here at Magny-Cours. As you see the Kessel Ferrari of David Fumanelli making its way up towards the checkered flag, and he'll take the flag in the pit lane. Work done.
Yeah, they've decided that. Jules Gounon realises on pole. MJ from SRO, Morgan from 2Cs congratulating him, and yeah, what a super sub he's been. Come in and yeah, it was a phenomenal lap. He probably was quite confident. It's always hard to drive, but when he saw the gap of nearly 4/10 to second place, Juris is the only one that's been able to do anything, and that gap's still over a 10.5 to another Merc from 2Cs.
So we'll hear from our Rover Pole Position Award winner in due course. This is Alessandro Frassinetti launching the Audi over the curb. Not quite all 4 wheels in the air, but again, that bunny hop that flicks the car through the second part. Don't tell me they're starting to use that as their advantage now to get the car to rotate, or are they? Are they that clever?
It looks like it, doesn't it? They're rotating the car mid-air. It's phenomenal to watch that slow-mo.
Let's get to Jules Gounon then. 2 poles in a row. The Rover Pole Position Award goes to Jules Gounon. He's with Bryn Lucas.
It's all down to the lucky pants, isn't it? I know that you've got your Max underwear on.
Yeah, I'm not going to show it again, but of course, they are on. It worked in Misano. Just super happy to be here. Again, my thought for Chris, that's still recovering, but it's great for me. I've been struggling a lot in other championship where some people can doubt me and tell me if I still got it. I come here 2 times and 2 times pole, so it feels really great to me to also show I never left. So very happy, thanks to the team. The car was fantastic, and thanks for AMG also for giving me a good car.
We certainly don't doubt that you've still got it, Jules, that's for sure. And for yourself and the team as well, being in pole position here, it's very hard to overtake. A lot of the overtakes happen here in the pit stop.
Yeah, exactly. The goal will be to try to push at the start. My teammate Kian did a very good job by qualifying P2, so I hope we can try to go together and have a good pit stop. Once again, it's fantastic for me to be here in France, to see so many fans. Merci à tous les Français. I'm gonna do it in French, qui sont venus ce week-end. Ça me fait tellement plaisir de pouvoir rouler sur le sol français devant les fans. Donc, mettre une pole position pour Verstappen Racing, c'est assez exceptionnel pour moi.
Bonne chance ce soir. Time now for the Rover Pole Position Award presented by MJ from SRO Motorsports Group, going to Jules Gounon.
Who doesn't need to be persuaded to crouch down for the photographs. He's done this so often. Proper pro. Get the award, pose for the photographs, and top work by a very happy Jules Gounon. And the car underneath the race control building. And this is how he attacked the curve at the final chicane.
The one that attacked the most, didn't he? So this bit was good, not as aggressive as some, but this next left, he launched the car, and that could be the difference between not being on pole and being on pole. It's going to barrel roll at a point, and someone that's going to be very happy is that 2Cs team, first and second, with the Kieran Jewis car in the bronze pole.
Yeah, 2 class poles then, 2 Cs. The Verstappen racing entry of Jules Gounon ahead of Kieran Jewis. Max Hess a 3rd best BMW. Then it's Lucas Aron and Fabian Schiller. So 4 out of the top 5 Mercedes AMG. Then 2 Aston Martins. Kobe Pauwels ahead of Oliver Söderström. For Söderström, that's a silver pole, his first of the year. Marvin Dienst 8th. Thomas Neubauer ahead of Mathis Lismont, then Dennis Marshall, Gilles Magnus next from Dean McDonald, Gaspar Simon, Tommaso Mosca, Tom Fleming 16th, and in the end Charles Wirtz falls to 7th 17th in the times ahead of Alex Arca. David Fuminelli a decent 19th, and Eddie Cheever 20th. So your class pole winners, Jules Gounon in pro, Kian Jewis in bronze, Oliver Söderström in silver, and it was Gilles Magnus in gold for the Boots and VDS team. And you can see the whole order scroll through with some cars well out of position. Thierry Vermeulen only 34th, Luc Rentschler 32nd, and despite the black and orange flag, Jim Pla 25th. But Bastien Boost Porsche, the Spa winners, well, they lost a huge amount of points ground at Misano, and still behind Wirtz and Van der Linde on the grid. They've got work to do from 21st, Bastien Boost and Ricardo Feller.
Yeah, they're bang in the danger zone, aren't they? In the middle of the grid. We saw last year a lot of contact at turn 5, so they'll want to avoid that, of course, but you make your own luck, and when you qualify mid-pack, there's not much luck to be had.
Talking of making your own luck, Amaury Cordial has predicted 44th, not a lap time because losing them to track limits. So that really does put him and Jordan Pepper on the back foot. He's got to do some of the work early doors when the field is compacted. You could argue it's easier by being at the back. You're keeping behind the accidents if there are any early on in the race. But yeah, it must be a real sinking feeling that for Jordan Pepper, knowing that you're going into today's race starting flat last.
Yeah, that's going to be hard as we go in tonight. As we look at Arthur Leclerc, he's happy with the A, of course, Ferrari so far. But yeah, anyone outside the top 7 is going to have a hard job winning here at Magny-Cours if you look at the historical stakes.
So we've had lots of good super slow-mo shots of airborne cars. What about this? The biggest air of all. Charles Wirtz' first curb was fairly spectacular, but this got everything off the deck.
Looks painful, doesn't it? And, yeah.
How much do you feel that in the car?
Everything, every single vertebrae just compresses. And liken it to jumping from 6 foot high without bending your legs. Wow. That's how it feels.
Ouch is the sum up then. Well, Charles Wirtz is going to have to be aggressive in the race, just as he has been in qualifying. And we'll look forward to the race that is due to start at 9:05 local time. Qualifying at Magny-Cours split into 2 groups, as is now tradition in Sprint Cup. The first 10 minutes for the pros and the golds. And James Kell was the first driver to attack for a flying lap and ran out of room coming through turn 3. Through the gravel he went, and he tumbled down the times. A good lap being offered up by number 51, Ferrari early on in the session, Tommaso Mosca in goal. Kobe Powells was doing a good job for the ComTu Aston Martin team as Lucas Auer put his Mercedes 3rd. Max Hesse was fastest for a time, but then fell behind Jules Gounon, so 2nd for Hesse, and Jules Gounon attacking the curb at 16 and 17 would come through for a 2nd pole in a row. And for 2Cs, the team that operates that Mercedes, there was double glory, because as you see Dennis Marshall attacking the curve again at 16 and 17, Kian Jewis would go fastest in gold. A good effort being posted in silver by Mathis Liesmond, double winner this year in the car that he shares with Ignacio Montenegro. Marvin Dees was also looking good in the bronze battle in his Winward Mercedes, and so too Fabian Schiller. Some quick drivers joining the bronze graded drivers. And Kian Jewis, the reigning British GT champion, heading for bronze pole. So the race to get underway at 9:05. We'll be on air a little bit before that with the full build-up to the first of 2 races here at Magny-Cours. Today's under the lights, tomorrow's in the daylight. And after an excellent job done, let's hear from Kian Jewis, bronze pole winner.
We've come behind the scenes here to where the tyres are. Kian, that was a mega lap. I know you said not enough to beat Jules, but it was a pretty decent attempt from you.
Yeah, you know, look, we've worked so hard. We're finally kind of over our little lull period, should we say. We're in a good place now, and yeah, look, we just missed the last little bit just to maybe try and get Jules. But no, look, to be 1-2 as a team is really good, and obviously in pole in bronze is good. So now we just got to get our head down for the race now.
What can you do in the race? I mean, we always say it's so hard to overtake here. We know WRT are so good in the pits, but to have your 2 cars side by side must be a huge thing for the team.
Yeah, look, definitely. Obviously, there's different pit stop windows for us, and obviously we have the minimum pit stop time. So for us, is a lot less pressure than the other guys on the other side of the garage. But look, there is a WRT obviously very close. So look, we'll obviously try and work together and try and get away and not make too much of a fight out of it.
Good luck.
Thank you very much.
Interesting, isn't it? Kian Jewis talking about wanting to beat Jules Gounon and treating this as an overall battle. But if you're in bronze, there is a regulation pit stop time. So it does, of course, mean that, yeah, he can be up there fighting Jules in the first stint, but it's going to be a very different second stint always is for the bronzes, because they have to factor in that regulation pit stop time, which is 53 seconds here at Magny-Cours. Well, we're going to be on air at just after 8:30 with the build-up from the grid for our first of 2 races in GT World Challenge Europe, powered by AWS Sprint Cup. And we'll see you for all the action later on in the evening. Bye for now.